Resuming debate, the honourable member for Kenora.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'd like to thank my friend and colleague and seatmate from Parry Sound, Muskoka, for his great speech. It's unfortunate that I have to follow him because I know it's definitely a tough act to follow, but I appreciate that I can follow him because I do share a lot of the same concerns as he does, and I truly am, Madam Speaker, concerned with the state of affairs in this country, in this place, in this chamber, and I'm worried about the direction that our political discussion is going. And I'd like to touch on that a bit more later on, Madam Speaker. But to start my remarks, I would like to come back to the issue at hand. And obviously, we have a very important vote tonight. And I believe I have a duty to share my views on how I will be making my decision when the vote comes tonight. Madam Speaker, as I said last week in this chamber, the blockades we are seeing are illegal. They must come to an end. I'm pleased to see that they have come to an end. The right to peaceful protest is an integral part of our democracy. It's an important pillar of our democracy. I've told many people back home that almost every day I'm here, it seems like there's a different protest happening out by the flame on the lawn of Parliament. And that's an important part of our process. However, nobody in this country has the right to blockade critical infrastructure. Freedom is limited by how it interferes with the freedom of others. And that is what we saw on display over the past few weeks here in Ottawa and in other places across the country. However, I believe, Madam Speaker, that police have the ability and had the ability to handle the situation without invoking the Emergencies Act. We saw that the Ambassador Bridge was cleared, that the Coutts border crossing was cleared without the invocation of the Emergencies Act. We also know in the past in this country, Madam Speaker, we've seen terrorist attacks, we've seen the Oka crisis, the Wet'suwet'en blockades, the fisheries crisis, G20 protests, the Stanley Cup riots in Vancouver, Madam Speaker. None of these instances warranted the use of the Emergencies Act. Quite recently, currently, we've seen the terrible images from BC, from the Coastal GasLink assault, a situation where the Emergencies Act is not deemed to be necessary. And I believe that the government had many options that they could take in working with their partners to address the situation without going so far, because there are such far-reaching powers afforded to the government by invoking this act, including the ability to freeze bank accounts of Canadians. Many people I know are very concerned that they may have contributed a small amount to support this convoy. They may have bought a shirt or contributed in a very small way, because they felt at the time that this convoy, this protest was going to be peaceful, that it was going to raise awareness about an issue that they cared about, and they felt like they did not have a voice raising that for them. And these people, those people, are the ones that I worry could be unfairly impacted by this decision to invoke the Emergencies Act. People that contributed not knowing that there would be unlawful protests, not knowing how the situation would escalate, or necessarily who was organizing it. And I also worry, as many have mentioned in this chamber already throughout the weekend and here today already, I worry about the precedent that this sets. I believe we are drastically lowering the bar, Madam Speaker, for what constitutes an emergency in this country. And that's something that I think all of us in this chamber have to think very hard about when we have our vote here tonight. We do not want to see widespread use of the Emergencies Act. We do not want this to become something that is almost an everyday reaction because of how serious and far-reaching the powers are. And that's why I'll be voting against the implementation of the Emergencies Act. And, well, Madam Speaker, I mean, it'd be interesting to see, actually, how this vote transpires, because I think an argument could be made that the situation in which the government needed to address has actually been dealt with already. And I know that that's a question that's been put to the members of the government so far.